Hey guys. All right, in this video, we're going to be talking about the short run shutdown condition. This can be a little bit confusing, but it's really important that you understand that what we're talking about is whether or not a business is going to shut down in the short run. What does that mean? It means that this business is profitable in the long run. They're not thinking about going out of business. They're just deciding whether or not to stay open on Tuesday or to close on Tuesday. Tuesday's typically the slowest day for restaurants. They're trying to decide whether or not to close at 6 p.m. or at 9 p.m. or at midnight, right? Most businesses are not open 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So how do businesses decide when to open their doors and when to close their doors? We will be talking about going out of business, which is long run entry and exit, in the next topic. But for now, just keep in mind that these are profitable businesses and they're just deciding when to stay open and when to close on a day-to-day, week-to-week, hour-to-hour basis. All right, so like we said at the end of last video, our fixed cost, our rent, it's a sunk cost. Because this business is going to be open for the foreseeable future, they're going to be paying their rent, whether or not they've opened their doors or closed their doors, okay? So the business is going to stay in business, they're going to pay their rent, they might still close at 9 p.m., okay? How do they decide whether or not to close at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m.? Well, they're going to look at their revenue during that time period versus their variable costs. Remember, in any context, to answer any question, all we need to do is identify the relevant costs and benefits and then compare them. So what's the benefit of staying open from 9 to 10 p.m.? Well, you get a little bit extra revenue. And what's the cost? You've got to pay people to work in your restaurant, right? Or whatever other variable costs you have. Maybe if you're serving more meals, you have to pay for more ingredients, right? Those are all the variable costs associated with production, not the fixed costs. So here what we want to do is to stay open as long as revenue is bigger than variable cost. All of our other cost concepts have been rearranged to be in per unit terms, okay? So we've got marginal cost is the cost of one additional unit, and we've got average total cost, which is the average cost per unit. So we also want to rearrange this condition to be in per unit terms. And to do that, we just divide both sides by quantity. And we get price, because remember, total revenue is equal to price times quantity, is greater than or equal to this we're going to call average variable cost. Okay, average variable cost is just your variable cost per unit. So here's our decision rule. We're going to stay open an extra hour only if our price, our revenue per unit, is bigger than our variable cost per unit. Let's go ahead and apply this in an example. So in this example, we've got a successful ice cream shop, and demand for ice cream is low in December and January. This is probably not true in California, but it is true in other parts of the country, and I know of several ice cream shops that would shut down seasonally. They would just close completely, right, during the winter months and then reopen in the spring. So this ice cream shop is trying to decide whether or not to stay open during December and January. They've got a fixed cost, that's their rent, okay, which works out to be $35 per day. And in order to stay open, they have to staff the shop with at least one employee. And that employee is going to earn $60 a day. So here we have your fixed cost is $35 a day, and your variable cost is $60 a day. Now we need to think about revenues. So we sell ice cream cones for $3 more than cost. Okay, so that's our revenue per cone. And so revenues equal $3 per cone. And we would expect to have 30 customers per day during the winter months. All right. Right, so we've laid out our costs and our benefits, and now we just need to compare them to see if we should stay open during the winter months. Remember, the fixed cost is a sunk cost. It's not going to affect this decision. The relevant question is whether our revenues will be bigger or smaller than our variable costs. So there are two ways to approach this problem, right? One is just to calculate our total revenues. Which would be $3 times the number of cones per day, which gives me $90 a day. And then to compare that to my variable cost. Okay. The other way to, and we can see that's bigger, right? So yes, stay open. The other way to do this would be to compare the revenue per unit, right, or the price to average variable cost, right? So we could calculate average variable cost here. That would be, let's do this. Average variable cost would be my variable cost divided by the number of sales, right? That's $2. And again, I can see $3 is bigger than my $2 average variable cost. Both of these are telling me stay open, right? It's the same comparison that we're making here, just in two different ways. On the graphs in the next topic, we will only be looking at average variable cost, right? And it's important that you know, right, the rule here is to stay open as long as your price or your revenue per unit is greater than or equal to your average variable cost. Okay. All right, now we figured out that the ice cream shop should stay open. Well, what about profit? How is their profit going to look during this time period? Well, profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. So your profit here is going to be equal to, let's see, total revenue is 90 per day minus, now your total cost is going to be your fixed cost plus your variable cost. So that's going to be 60 plus 35 equals 95. So we end up with a profit of negative $5 a day. Every day during these months, you're losing $5. Okay, that's not good. That's not good, right? You're a business, you want to make money, you're losing money, that's bad. So why does the firm still stay open even though its profits are negative? Well, the answer is that if the firm shut down during December and January, they would lose even more money because they would still be paying their rent of $35 per day. Come February, they're going to want to open up, make a lot of money selling ice cream. Okay, so the key here is that we're not talking about going out of business. We're talking about staying open during a slow month or a slow week or a slow day or a slow hour, right? And in this situation, we ignore our fixed costs because we have to pay them anyway. We stay open as long as the revenue is greater than our variable costs, meaning that we can be operating with negative profits. All right, so that's the short run shutdown condition. Okay, if you have questions, remember, go to the discussion boards. For the next video, we're going to be going through the answers to this practice problem, but you should be able to do this problem now on your own. So what I want you to do is go ahead and work through this problem, right? Look back at your notes if you get stuck. And then if you need extra help, go to the answer video. I'll show you the solutions and we'll work through it together. All right, this is the end of new material for topic 10. Check out the answers to this practice problem. Otherwise, move on to the next topic. Topic 11, we'll be doing perfect competition.